Welcome, Aquaba, to You Ain't Imagining This, the sanctuary where we tell our stories, name our truths, and reclaim our peace. I'm Amal Robin, your sister host and storyteller, and soon, maybe your neighbor. Around here, we explore what it means to live Black in spaces that weren't built for us, and to keep our joy, our safety, and our brilliance intact. Each story, each reflection is a reminder that you're not imagining the chaos or the beauty around you. We see it, we name it, we confront it together. Today, we are settling onto the porch. It's our first stop in Yatetown. I can't wait to take you there. It's the place where we have always learned and laughed and argued and rested. The place that still holds us when the world feels heavy. So find your spot. Take a breath. You're home now. Before we begin, I want to tell you something about the porch. You may be wondering about that. You see, when I talk about the porch, I don't just mean a set of steps or stairs or a piece of wood in front of a house. That space where we feel seen, where somebody always makes room for us, where laughter and truth live side by side. Some of us grew up calling it the stoop. I often hear my mama call it the stoop. Some of us call it the veranda, some the step. Different names, same spirit. The porch is where we have always gathered to learn, to rest, to listen, and to remember, and of course, just to hang out. It's where we passed our stories and wisdom long before the world ever thought we were scholars. Today, I am going to take you there, and we're going to sit for a while together. Let's remember the lessons we've learned and the ones that we are still learning. Today, we have a story, and this story is called The 4 Porches. Though, if you listen closely, you'll find that there is a 5th. I remember my mother, I keep coming back to my mama, but she's always right there. My mom was saying everything happens on the porch. Somewhere along the way, a lot of us stopped sitting outside. A lot of us forgot about the porch. Maybe the days got louder, maybe fear or fatigue pushed us away from the porch. But when we left the porch, we lost something quiet and important. The ease of seeing each other without effort. Just think about it. I know you know this. You know that feeling when you finally sit down, but your mind keeps standing? I absolutely know this, and I'm going to guess that some of you out there do too. My mama told me that's what happens when we forget about the porch. Today, we're remembering it. So let's get to the story. We've got a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to share this time with you. The 4 Porches. One day, 4 children were bored, so they decided to split up and go out into their neighborhood to find something fun to do, like a recon mission for fun. And they would report back to their friends about any fun that they found. Then they could all meet up there together. One child found a porch where elders gathered and learned to listen before speaking. The air was heavy with the smell of coffee and sweetbread. The elders didn't rush the child or question why he'd come. They just made room on the steps for him. Their voices rose and fell like a breeze, and the child felt something different. The safety of being surrounded by people who saw them and expected their brilliance. Another child found a stoop where neighbors argued and laughed and learned that truth and love can live in the same breath. There was teasing, loud talk, and hands waving in the air. But underneath it all was respect. Even in disagreement, everyone belonged. Someone passed a child a cold drink, another a smile, and the child understood that love could sound like laughter and correction at the same time. A third child sat on a veranda and learned stillness, that peace is its own kind of power. The veranda wrapped around a small blue house open to the wind. The elders there spoke softly, if at all. They let silence teach. The child watched the elders, and he felt calm, steady, sacred. The fourth child came home to her own porch and realized the lesson had been waiting there all along. Learning doesn't only live in schools or books. It lives wherever we pause long enough to listen, to see, to communicate with each other. Her family was waiting with open arms, proud eyes, and space beside them. They didn't ask what she learned. They just pulled her close, and in that closeness, she knew that she was cherished. Then there was a fifth child who walked a little farther than the others. She found a porch at the edge of town where the laughter from one side sounded different from the silence on the other. People there looked at her, then looked away. Their words were polite, but their eyes held questions that she hadn't asked. She sat anyway. After a while, she learned something the others hadn't had to learn that day. That not everyone will see your light for what it is. Some will say that it is too bright, or they will try to shade it, or act like it isn't there. But an older woman on the porch leaned close and reminded her that their sight is not her measure, and never to dim herself to fit a smaller world. So the fifth child stayed longer, a while longer, breathing through the discomfort, and she realized that wisdom also means knowing when to stay rooted in yourself. Because even when the welcome is uncertain, you still belong to your own brilliance. By the time the sun began to fade, the 5 children found each other again. Their feet were dusty, their hearts were full. They talked about what they'd seen, elders who'd listened, neighbors who argued with love, the house and the silence that taught stillness, the family that welcomed them home, and the porch that reminded one of them that not everyone would see her light, but that she should shine anyway. They laughed about the journey, but inside they knew something had changed. What started as a day of wandering had become a lesson they'd carry for the rest of their lives, proof that wisdom waits in many forms, and that every porch has something to teach. And one day, when they were older, they told these same stories to their own children, so the learning and the love was never lost. And one day, when they were older, they told these same stories to their own children, so the learning and the love were never lost. And maybe that's why we're all here now, pausing together, remembering our brilliance. So let's talk now about what this story really means. Not for somebody else, but what it could mean for you, what it could mean for me. We just spent time on that block watching the not 4 but 5 kids walk from stoop to veranda to stairs to stoop, learning from elders, learning from neighbors, and learning from friends. That's not just a folk tale. That's us. That's how we have always learned, through each other, not apart from each other. You already know this truth. I know it because we live this. Education was never just about schools. It was about survival and connection and love. We've always had our own teachers, the auntie who tells it to us straight. We all have her. The barbershop philosopher, the deacon with the stories, the friend who helps us make sense of our day. They're all part of our classroom. That's the heart of Yatetown. It's launching soon, so I really hope you're going to be there. It's a village of learning, the front porch for our stories and learning and knowledge, the library for our learning and wisdom and knowledge, the garden for our healing and wisdom and knowledge, the playground for our learning and wisdom and joy. Every corner of it reminds you that you're both the student and the teacher. Think about that one. So I want to give you a challenge this week. Look around your life. Who can you learn from today? I don't know if there's anyone else in the room with you, but if you see another person, think about what you can learn from them today. And then think about who can learn from you. Ask a question. Offer an insight. Tell a story. Start a conversation that really feels real, not rehearsed. Sit down with your kids and do this. I know it's going to be hard to peel them away from their phones or from their friends and all of that, but try it. Do it. It'll happen. Because, when you keep talking and listening and teaching each other, we're not just building a community, we really are building liberation. And I can tell you that's exactly what my parents taught me, or really how I felt around them. Because as I watched them sitting on the stoop or at the dining room table, I learned so much. I felt the respect. I was listened to. I was asked questions. I asked questions. And I felt so free. And I wonder if you ever have that experience. Now, I'm not saying every time was like that. No, I'm going to keep it real with you. But many times it was. And I do remember that. This really is how we can free ourselves through our connections and curiosity and through the courage to keep learning. You ain't imagining this. I promise you are the classroom and the world is waiting to hear from you. Please don't silence your voice anymore. Deep breath. There is more to the story. Remember the 5th porch with the girl whose competence and even her presence were questioned and even attacked. I know her. I am her. Every week, sometimes every day. In fact, I can tell you I was just last night. Maybe you know how she felt too, and I bet you do. We all do. Most of us spend our days in spaces that were not built for us. I know I do. Again, just yesterday, part of today too. We code switch in meetings. We swallow microaggressions like vitamins just to get through the morning. We hear, "You're so articulate," when what they mean is, "I didn't expect you to be intelligent." We keep receipts. We sure do. They ask, "Oh, do you want your receipt?" Expecting me to say no. I always say yes. because I know I got to get out of that store, and I may have to prove something to get out of that store. I've taught my son the same thing. That's right, I have. We stay twice as prepared, and we still get questioned. And when the day ends, when the office lights go out or the Zoom call finally closes, our bodies are still tight and our minds are still on guard. That is racial vigilance. I also call it hypervigilance because you're really on high alert. It's the quiet cousin of trauma, and it steals our rest if we let it. That is why the porch matters. I didn't always understand why my mother was talking about how good it felt to sit on the stoop. Frankly, sometimes it looked uncomfortable, but now I do. It's a place where you can put your armor down for a few minutes, where you can say, "They tried me again." And somebody then answers, "Yeah, I know. Sit, eat something. You're home now." The porch is resistance, disguised as stillness. It's where you can remember that being human isn't a privilege someone else grants us. It is our birthright. It's where we can unlearn the lie that we have to prove our worth every day just to keep it. So when I invite you to sit with me, I'm not just offering comfort, although I am offering that too. I'm offering defiance. I'm offering rest because we've learned it 1,000 times over. And we didn't even have to, but we did. We breathe because breathing itself is a protest against erasure. That's what porch learning means to me, or stoop learning, or veranda learning, whatever you want to call it. Learning how to stay whole while the world keeps pulling pieces of you away. Learning that you are enough, even when the room acts like you're too much. So tonight, if you feel that old weight, that need to over-explain or outperform, just remember this, okay? Listening? You don't have to prove anything here. You're already enough. You've already done enough. Sit, breathe, and remember who you are. You're not carrying it alone, and you ain't imagining this. I want to be honest with you here. The porch was never just a few steps or pieces of wood in front of the building, as I said earlier. It was a stage, a sanctuary, and a classroom, all rolled up into one. And if you grew up anywhere near one, you already know exactly what I mean. It's where you heard the neighborhood gossip and the neighborhood truth. That's where you got checked when you were wrong and praised when you were right. It's where you watched love, wisdom, and reality all mixed together under the sound of music, laughter, and someone frying chicken a few doors down. And here's the part that really matters to me. You learned more than you ever knew. We all did. That stoop, or the porch, the salon, the corner store, the church pew, they were all a classroom. And every person sitting there was a teacher. The elder who told you to stay steady, quit fidgeting. The friend who told you the truth even when it hurt. The neighbor who gave you advice you didn't ask for, but ended up needing and using. That was all learning, community style, intergenerational, real-time education. Just think about it. When I think from my own life, I think Mr. Harris taught me history. Keisha taught me family. The Patels taught me economics with humanity. Miss Lila taught us the power of listening. Those were all college-level lessons, but they were free, organic, and alive. And you're going to meet them soon. And somewhere along the way, too many of us stopped sitting on the stoop. We got busy, we got scared, we got isolated. We closed our doors and rushed from place to place and started thinking that learning only happens under fluorescent lights or behind passwords. But deep down, I know you still remember that rhythm, that feeling of being seen and safe and curious all at once. That's why I know you still miss it. And that's why the story hit you, and it definitely hit me, and maybe it hit you too. The truth is that the stoop, the veranda, the porch isn't gone. It's still there waiting for you. It might look different now. A kitchen table, a FaceTime call, a walk with a friend, a group chat that actually goes deep. The space doesn't matter. The energy does. When you slow down enough to listen and talk with real intention, you're already back on the porch. And that's how we can build the village, our community, not always with big speeches or grand gestures or huge plans, but with small, steady acts of connection. So I'm going to ask you this, and I just really want you to be honest with, you don't have to be honest with me, but to be honest with yourself. When was the last time you sat still long enough to learn something from someone else? Or to let someone else learn from you? So yes, that's the challenge for this week, for you and for me, to sit down somewhere and remember that the best education is shared. And you ain't imagining this. Now, I think it's a good time to slow things down a little bit, because I want to ask you, have you been carrying a lot? I actually can almost feel it, the tightness in your shoulders and the lists that keep running through your mind, because it's the same way for me. You keep telling yourself you'll rest later after the work is done, but the work never ends. It's the same way for me, and that's why I like to come back to the porch. And here's another truth. You don't earn rest. You practice it. It's yours. You don't have to leave the world to reclaim peace. You just have to pause inside of it. And I know saying that is really much easier said than done. So, I think just so we can know what it feels like, let's pause for a minute right now. Okay, if you can find a way to make yourself get comfortable in a quiet place, if you can, for just maybe 2 minutes, and we'll do this together. Let's take this time right now to pause. So uncross your arms. Let your shoulders drop. Take one deep, slow breath. We'll do it together. In through the nose, and then out through the mouth. Think of something that you've learned recently. Something that you learned from your family or your friends or your own lived wisdom. Think of what it feels like to just stop and rest. Think of someone or something that made you laugh recently. Think of something that was beautiful in your life. Was it a sunrise, a sunset, a bird, a car? Think of someone who made you feel cherished and important. This is the porch. Now let's breathe again. A deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, we have talked a lot about the porch today, the stoop, the veranda, whatever you want to call it, whatever you do call it. Now, let's talk about what we're going to do with it, what we can learn from it, what we can do with it. And I only have 5 things. I'm sure that there are a whole lot more, and I would love to hear what you have to say too. Let's start with number 1. We learn together in community, on the porch, on the veranda, on the stoop, on the step. It's a place of community. It's not always a place for isolation. Now, saying, you know me, I'm an introvert, and I love my periods of isolation. I need that. And sometimes I get that on my porch. And maybe sometimes you do too. But it's also a place that when I do meet with other people or I'm there with other people on the porch, I know that I belong. I don't feel the demands. I don't feel the stares. And it feels like family and community. So let's say we can learn together there. We can support each other. And the porch does remind us that learning happens in the voices and in the silence. So this week, let's reach out to friends or to colleagues. Let's trade stories, trade relief, share the rest. And that study, that's the kind that saves us and enriches and uplifts us. Number 2, let's rest without apology. You do not have to earn your pause or your rest. Take 10 minutes tomorrow. Just think about it, 10 minutes tomorrow on a step, on a balcony, even in your car, and let your body stop performing. That's a radical lesson. You can do it tomorrow. Hey, if you want to, you can do it today. You can even do it right now. 10 minutes. Number 3, name what the world pretends not to see. If racism shows up in your day, the question, the dismissals, the doubt, the stares, say it out loud. On the porch, we call things what they are because truth is one of our most powerful tools of liberation as a people and as individuals. Number 4, let's build our circles. Our circle of friends, our circle of people around us, our community. Today or tomorrow, invite one person into your porch this week. A conversation, a shared meal, a text that says, I see you. Every connection weakens the lie of racism and that you're alone in this, because I promise you're not. Remember I was talking about how I just went on vacation with a girlfriend, one of my sisters, and we just spent time together on the porch. And we made meals together. We sat down with a glass of wine together. We just sat down and talked, or we sat in silence together. Number 5, keep the wisdom close. Ooh. Got to think about that one, huh? Keep the wisdom close. Write down one thing you've learned from life outside of the classrooms. Something that your family taught you, or you learned from your friends, or you overheard someone say. That's porch knowledge and porch wisdom, and carry it with pride. I like to think that it's the ancestors or a spirit circle that just drop pearls of wisdom all around us. And we often ignore it, or we decide we think that's not really wisdom. That's not scientifically proven or something like that. You decide what it is and what's the wisdom and what it means for you. I hope you do realize, I do, that the porch isn't a place that we visit. Now, it's a way that we live. The porch, yeah, it is a physical place, but it's so much more than that. It's any place that we can rest, any place we can remember, or any place we can learn, any place where we feel safe. And every time you do, you take that kind of freedom and feel that and that kind of safety and feeling of belonging. And no one can take that away from you, and no one can deny that to you because it's yours. So those are the things that I think that we can learn from the porch and that we can do with the porch. And I'm just so really honored and happy and uplifted and enriched that we are all sitting here together. And you ain't imagining this. I'm going to stop droning on and on now because you don't have unlimited time. I don't either. But I'm just so happy that we are here together on this porch. We have done a lot today, but let's wrap it up. And I want to tell you, because I don't think I've expressed this to you, how impressed I am that you are still here with me, here in the building, here to discuss this issue, here to learn about it, here to learn from it, here to share what you learn with me. Because the porch is your place. It's for you. Its wisdom doesn't always come dressed up in comfort, but it always comes wrapped in truth. And that we're still here together talking about this shows our resilience, shows our power. And that we know we can do better. We can be stronger together. And it is the place where we learn how to listen. We learn how to love out loud, how to rest without apology, and how to keep shining even when the world tries not to see us. I just keep going back to the 4 or 5 porches story, and each porch just brought so much into my life and into my consciousness. That's why I couldn't stop thinking about it. That's why I wanted so badly to share it with you. But the porch, as I said, does not have to be an actual front porch or back porch. It can be a park bench, a kitchen chair, a patch of sunlight by your window. The porch really is any place that feels safe and supportive and welcoming. It's a space where you can breathe and belong. So maybe take a minute to think about, what is your porch? What is your stoop? What do you feel is your veranda? And honestly, it can be more than one space or more than one area, or it can differ every day. Let's just try to be mindful of when we are in that zone of the porch, because it's so easy in this day where we're rushing around to just forget that, wow, this feels just so uplifting. I feel so safe. I feel such calm. So be sure to breathe. And let's not try to remember that, oh, you know what, back then I was feeling really great. Oh, when I was there, I felt so calm. Let's try to experience it in the moment. Oh, that is a challenge, isn't it? I know it is for me. So I'm putting it out to you, but I swear I am putting it out to myself too. I'm Amma Robin, and I hope that you do find your porch this week. Sit in it if you can. Listen there if you can. Rest if you can. Feel the calm if you can. There's so much out there and in here that's demanding so much of you. But you're wise, you're strong, and as I said, I am so impressed with your courage and your strength, and simply just with you. You never have to sit or heal alone, and you ain't imagining this. Bye for now.